You know, it's funny, when I moved here, I feel like howling at the moon with all the amazing miracles that you're about to share. Well, I'm going to start off with saying, Bobby,
Yes.
that we've been hearing the shamans every day saying happy birthday to everybody, because every morning, every day here at Rythmia is a celebration
Yes.
of a death and a rebirth. And you got to celebrate on your last day, your birthday, your real birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want, in front of all of you, to just praise you and celebrate you.
Thank you.
And say happy birthday.
It was the best birthday. I feel like I'm reborn, you know?
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
And that's exactly why you're here, because you're here to share your miracle. And there, as I said, there were so many miracles that I got to witness. And so let's hear from the very beginning. How did it all start? How did you decide to miraculously show up to Rythmia? How did you hear the soul call?
I actually heard about ayahuasca 10 years ago, and I remember thinking I want to do that one day, and then didn't really think about it after that. And then 2 months ago, I had booked a trip to Costa Rica with my sister, like a singles thing. And as soon as I did, my best friend, like my sister friend, called me, and she had just returned from Rythmia, and she's like, her name's Yetzi, and she's like, oh no, she's like, you're supposed to go to Costa Rica, but not that. And then she started sharing her experience, and we just like sobbed for I just knew that wrong trip, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to abandon my sister. Sorry.
So even now there's tears. I don't know if you can see them out there, but you have tears.
Yeah.
And these tears are tears, I know, of joy.
Oh yeah.
And so tell us about the tears.
I watched these Facebook lives, just kind of hoping, like my daughter, hoping I would be healed from a divorce, and I just had all these but I sort of didn't think I really would, you know, like it was I remember watching a couple of these, and I was like, oh my gosh, like the couple from Utah, and she got her hearing back. I still get chills from that, but I still didn't expect that for me. I think it comes down to a worthiness, you know, am I deserving? And my daughter was like, Mom, you're gonna be healed. Like she was so excited. Everyone was more excited for me than I was excited. I was much more scared. I don't do things like this. I'm pretty suburban, you know? So I'm kind of still just blown away with the I haven't quite processed everything, because it was so amazing.
Yeah. And there's so much beautiful time for when you go home for it all to integrate.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting with some miraculous experiences. And so one of the things that really touched me is the night that you shared that you were able to do long distance healing for your daughter.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big miracles.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the most unexpected one, because I hadn't even considered that as a possibility. But, you know, I just thought I want to bring my daughters when they're 18. I've got 3 teenage girls, and maybe then. And I'd even texted my daughter Grace after the first night, because I had felt like she was going to be healed. And I'm like, Grace, I'm bringing you here, and you're going to be healed. And she was like, that's so cool, Mom. She was into it, you know.
Right.
But yeah.
You received a very clear prescription, as we call it, for Grace.
Yeah.
So do you want to share the journey of, I know that she was diagnosed at the age of 2 with an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
And now she's 17.
Yeah.
And with Mother Aya, you received a very clear way of her being able to heal. So
Yeah.
why don't you share that?
Okay. So I was, it was kind of all like playing out in a vision, and I I I was with this jaguar, and he healed my heart first of all, and then he came over to me, and I was laying there, and he had like a flame, like a stick with like fire on it, and he had it in his mouth, and he like leaned over my stomach and kind of asked if he could burn away like my trauma, like all like my womb and my gut, and I was like, please, and he dropped the fire in my right here, and I just remember like just watching it like just turn like white to like ash, and I was so grateful that it was gone. And it was like everything from from my childhood, from like every sad thing that had happened to me. I just felt like it was up in smoke. And then at that same time I knew, and Grace and I have already talked about this, like I sense deeply that this autoimmune thing happened because I was really sad when she was in my womb and when she was born, and she's so empathic. And I just felt like, and I had a dream about this like a couple months ago, that I kind of like passed a little bit of my sadness onto her, and she manifested it in her body, like taking it from me. So as that was happening, I just looked at this jaguar. I just said that out loud.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
A jaguar is a power animal. It's a spirit animal. And so it came to you in the journey as a guide, as an ally,
Yeah.
to support you in this healing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for making it sound not quite so crazy.
Not at all.
Okay. But I looked at him, and I just said, "Can you burn this away from Grace too, please?" And he just like he never talked, but he had the same flame thing in his mouth, and he just turned, and he just like bounded off into the jungle, like racing towards California. And then like some time passed, and I was having these other visions, and like it was, and then he came back, and he didn't have the flame anymore, and I felt like he had burned it out of her while she was sleeping. But then this like rational side of my brain was like, okay, you're just like tripping on some like some crazy jungle drugs. And so I just was like, yeah, but not really, right? Like not really. And 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 he just kind of like laid down on his haunches, and I'm super visual, like just anyways, when I think of things, it's always in pictures and just visual. But I just saw him like lay down like patiently, like sphinx pose, just like waiting for me to like believe him. And I just kept journeying, and then I'd be like, but like really, like it's been her whole life, it's been such a thing that I couldn't accept it. And then he just looked at me, and it was like, really, like just like I just knew that he really did, that he took what she was carrying that wasn't hers out. I don't know if he took him I don't know.
And you don't need to know.
Right. Exactly.
You don't need to know.
Exactly. But I just know that like that's that garbage that wasn't hers, it's not hers anymore. And then like I just kept like, the rational, like the logical side of my brain just kept questioning, like, but how do I really implement, like, what am I supposed to do? Because she gets medicine that suppresses her immune system, and I really felt like the plant telling me that not to give it to her. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, how do I not give it to her? I've given it to her, so like, to not do it, I made so many sacrifices to be able to afford it, to make it happen every time we've moved, to find a new doctor, to like anything to get this like healing medicine for her. So I just kept battling with the mother. And I'm like, how do I tell our doctor that? Like, I'm not like a go off the grid and live in the jungle and we're gonna raise our own vegetables. So this is not me. And then she's like, take her to every 6-week appointment, do blood work, check her joint, check for inflammation where she has inflammation, and as long as she doesn't need it. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, that's not crazy. I mean, it might be a little bit, he'll push back, but that's rational. And every 6 weeks, that's fine. You know?
So just take a deep breath right now. What incredible wisdom you received, and direction, and how to move forward from a vision that you had and then going back to life. And that's what they say. It's so important to be able to take what you've learned here at Rythmia and then to, as you said, to implement it with a plan, with an action plan. And you have it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do that.
Exactly.
I can do that. And if it starts to, if it starts to come back, then I'll go back on the medicine.
Right.
But I do feel like energetically that once she heals, like, and gets happier and gets hopeful, and that her body will heal itself too. Like, it just isn't stuff that isn't hers anymore.
Yes.
And I just didn't think like I would have gladly given up my, like, mom's, right? Like, but I just didn't think I could ask for that and receive that. And like, she did.
So many gifts for your birthday.
I know.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
And you have 3 beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And I know that your other 2 daughters also received some great healing.
Yeah.
So you want to share also what they experienced?
Yes.
And they weren't here. For those who are just tuning in with us, we're talking about 3 different healings that happened on 3 different nights, where Bobby was the vessel for her daughters. And so that's the power of this work.
Yeah. So after I had the experience with Grace, I was like, what about Cora and Sydney? Like, we all need healing. We've been through such an emotional upheaval, and it's been rough for the last 3 years for them. We've had to move, like, just lots. And my oldest daughter has anxiety, and I'm like, I don't know if they can handle this right now. Like, it's a lot to be here and go through that. Like, it wasn't easy at all. And she said, they don't have to come. She said, you can heal them. And she showed me, like, she showed me, like, where to put my hands on Sydney and why she felt anxious. And she showed me that, like, I saw myself with, like, a massage table in my bedroom, and I could massage them and, like, cook, like, the food here. Like, the food here is, like, singing to me, and that I could, and just, like, my new heart, my new strength, like, they're okay. Like, they don't need, a magical, and she gave me, like, visualizations of, even, I was very, very visual, and I was, I was in the jungle all night. But so she showed me, like a bee sting, and that I could, like, suck out the stinger from their hearts and, like, spit it away, and they could, and that just that they don't have to be here. Yeah. That we're like these fractals that, like, bloom, and, like, it, yeah. So,
and they're still very young, right? Yeah. I mean, we have Sydney, which she's 19, and Grace 17, and Cora, she's 13. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got that right. So, that is young, and still, because you did that work, you're preparing them for when they're ready.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I'm like, I don't want to tell them, oh, we should go so you could be healed. I want them to be called, and if they're called, then I can relax knowing that they're ready.
Yes.
Yeah. So that takes the pressure off, because I just, it was.
So this is a dedicated mama who first and foremost came to merge with her soul and heal her heart, and then did incredible work on behalf of her 3 daughters. And that is quite the miracle to celebrate.
Yes, it is.
So happy.
Thank
What are you most excited to go home to?
I'm just excited for them to like see, like to tell that I'm back. Like I've just kind of been half there, just working through so much like emotional healing, and I haven't been able to really like support them the way I could before, and they know it. Like they don't say it, and I don't say anything. I don't say I'm weak. Like I act strong and I get my shit done, but they know it, and I just want them to like trust that I got them now. Like I got it. Like yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your heart
Yeah.
and your tears and your courage. Your courage for coming here and doing the work.
Yeah. I'm like so humbled that all this could happen. Like so many miracles. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I get to witness this every week. Am I not lucky? By far, everyone that comes here, whether they sit here with me or Kim, or in however they receive their miracle. So come join us and share. And yeah, it's every single time I'm just in awe. So thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And yeah, is there anything last thing that you want to say of inspiration?
I honestly like can't even keep track of all the miracles I had. Like I just voice memo it at night because I'm like, I'm gonna forget this. And I am just in awe that like I deserved all that.
Yeah.
So I'm still a little
Yes. And let's thank your spirit animal, the jaguar.
Oh my god. Seriously.
That four-legged.
It's my new favorite.
Yes.
Favorite animal.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much for
Thank
gracing
you.
us with your presence
Thank
and
you.
with your miracle and with your shining lights.
Thank you.
Yay.